What's going on, guys? Dave from the R.Y.S.E movement here for another Thinking Out Loud session. Today we're down at Jetswarongari training back, and I'm going to be talking all about the other shadow, this other side of the saying, breakups create bodybuilders. So we all know someone who's gone through a breakup. Maybe you've gone through one yourself, and you've thrown yourself into the gym, and all of a sudden your physique's looking good, you're strong, you're lean, all these sorts of things, and you're doing your diet, and all of a sudden you pretty much become a bodybuilder. That saying started somewhere. All of a sudden, I remember I did the exact same thing. 2009, I was with a girl I didn't want to be with, and she was lovely and all the rest of the things, but she was holding me back, and I was holding myself back by settling into that relationship. And then when my best friend died, Michael, in 2009 in a motorbike accident, it really reframed everything. It showed me how fragile life is. It showed me how temporary life is. And he was a guy that lived life on his own terms. He did whatever the fuck he wanted to do, and he was always happy. Sadly, his life was taken very, very early. It was taken just before his 21st birthday. And we never got to share, all the beautiful things. And because of that, it reframed my mindset. It changed me from focusing on, settling and happy wife, happy life and that sort of stuff into pursuing what I wanted. And, I've spoken about it a million times, but thoughts are things. The opening of the book, Think and Grow Rich, in the introduction is truly thoughts are things. And so I started thinking, what do I want? I'm holding myself back. I've got all this potential. I've got this ability to do whatever I want to do. I want to be a bodybuilder. So I broke up with her. I also said, I want to be a store manager of McDonald's. I was a second assistant, and I had two people above me to be able to, get anywhere in my career at the time. And I was like, I want to be a store manager. So that was what I wrote down. I said, these are my goals for this year. These are my goals for 2010. And I did both of my goals, 3 of my goals. I actually wrote down, I want to move out of home as well. And I did all of those. And so leaving that breakup, becoming a bodybuilder, doing the things that I wanted to do, let's focus on the shadow side of it. So what's the unconscious reasons why we're doing it? And that's what I'm going to talk about during this session. Let's go. All right, guys, first exercise is pendlay rows. So I've split up my back training recently into an overhand day and an underhand day. So today is overhand day. I'm starting off with heavy pendlay rows for 6s. I feel like my deadlifts is suffering a little bit at the moment because of this calorie deficit, and I need something to be able to bulk up what I'm missing out on. So this is what we're starting with. It's a nice, powerful movement. So when you do it, it's fast from the brace and then fast down to the floor. You reset on the floor. It's a dead stop every single time. And then make sure you take the deepest breath as if you're doing a deadlift. So these actually aid your deadlift. Same stance as your deadlift, but your toes are under the bar. You take your grip where your hand to go for your conventional deadlift. Weight on your heels, nice flat back, deep breath. So the shadow side of breaking up with someone, why breakups create bodybuilders, is because part of you, and I'm not saying it's the whole part, but I'm saying it's definitely part of you, wants to feel validated for the breakup. So when it comes to being broken up with, you're feeling shame, feeling embarrassed, feeling some resentment, and you want to do something about it. And so your unconscious will project things to you to be able to animate your mind and say, go pursue this thing because it's meaningful, because it'll fill us full of the good feelings. We'll get the dopamine, we'll get a bit of serotonin boost, we'll feel good, we'll get noticed by other people, maybe we'll even get noticed by other women. But realistically, what happens is every time you get in shape, it's dudes that notice you. It's dudes in the gym, it's your bros in the gym that'll go, oh fuck bro, you're looking awesome. Girls look at you and go, yeah, whatever. So realistically, when it comes to breakups creating bodybuilders, you're not doing anything for like a positive reason. Yeah, sure, you get positive benefits out of it, but a lot of the time it actually comes down to spite, it comes down to embarrassment, it comes down to resentment. So watch that next time that you have to go through this. some of the things that you're looking for when it comes to a pendulum, much the same when it comes to your deadlift. You want to make sure, big breath, brace your abs, make sure that you're pulling your abs towards your spine, lat depression, scap retraction, and then you power through the movement, keeping a nice flat foot the whole time as well. You don't want to be rocking to your toes, much like a deadlift. You don't want to be sitting too far on your heels. Nice even balance, about 60-40 on your heels to your toes. And then every single rep, power, power, power. You know, the thing I think mentally when it comes to doing pendulum rows is I'm thinking pretty much power the whole time. Actually, that's what goes through my head. It's power, power, power. I think every single time after I brace, I have this thing inside of my body where I know that everything's done, the checklist is done, and then it's power, go. Pull the trigger. I had one of my clients yesterday ask me why I'm filming workouts and why I'm filming, you know, lunch times and just general talk, thinking out loud stuff. And the truth of the matter is yeah, it's to put up on YouTube and stuff like that so that I've got more content. But at the same time, it's for my clients. It's for the ones that I already work with so that they can see I go through the same thing that they go through, that, you know, my thoughts are exactly the same, that I have times where I don't want to train, where I have times where I don't want to eat. And being able to think out loud is almost like I'm having a dialogue with them where they can see that I've got the same things going on as them. Like I put up this whole library and you know, all my personal training and coaching and everything that I do is so that my clients can learn from me, so that they can have, I can't even remember the word off the top of the head, but so that they can be immersed, that's the word I'm looking for, be immersed with me and my philosophy, and make sure that they can continue, get that reinforcement, because, you know, not everyone can afford to pay me 5 days a week's worth of training and, you know, get the same level of care and service that I can give as when I can give it out for free like this. So when I'm here thinking out loud, training and stuff like that, it's motivating for them. You know, they have days where they don't want to go to the gym. I have days where I don't want to go to the gym. I have days where I don't want to eat my macros and I want to go, you know, I want to go to KFC, I want to go Guzman or something like that. And it's seeing that consistent discipline applied over time, and it helps my clients out, as I hope it helps you guys out as well. All right, last set. Some of the big pitfalls to worry about when it comes to breaking up, becoming a bodybuilder, becoming fit, going to do CrossFit or jiu-jitsu or whatever it is. All of a sudden you start looking better, start feeling more confident. You have to watch out for that ego, because your ego will come along and it'll fill you full of ideas that you're God's gift to woman, that your shit doesn't stink, and that you're not a total douchebag. I can tell you, as a former massive dickhead, massive douchebag with a giant ego, it's gonna happen. You gotta keep that shit under check. Otherwise you'll turn into an absolute fuckstick and you'll start losing people around you, and you'll start attracting the wrong type of people around you because of your shitty mindset. There's one thing that I hate for back more than anything else. It's fucking pull-ups. Pull-ups suck. At my body weight today after a refeed yesterday, I'm 112 kilos again. There's all glycogen and food and everything that's sitting in my gut, which makes pull-ups that much harder. So when it comes to pull-ups, I'm not looking to work my grip. That's why I wear straps. When I'm training back, actually, I'm not looking to train my grip unless I'm specifically doing gripping exercises. I'm looking to train my back. So why all of a sudden am I starting to talk about breakups? Well, one was from question and answer Thursday. One of the questions from one of the men asked in was, what's the fastest way to get over a breakup? If you haven't watched it yet or listened to it yet, go over to that podcast episode, give it a listen, find out what my answer is. What's the fastest way to get over a breakup? But I'm working with a couple of people at the moment that are going through breakups. Two going through divorces. One of them's going through a custody battle at the same time, and DV court with his ex-wife because she hit him and then raised a knife at him. And I don't want to see anyone suffer, let alone men or women, doesn't matter. I want to make sure that everyone can thrive, that everyone can have the, you know, the greatest relationships possible, the greatest love possible, you know, and just live life on your terms. And that's why I'm talking about relationships again. You know, we've got plenty of episodes in the podcast early on where we were talking about relationships and, you know, ways to navigate them, DV and arguments and negotiation and things like that, because it's a part of everyone's lives. Whether you like it or not, these things are going to happen. So you may as well know how to navigate them the best of your ability. I want to go on a little bit more from what Scott and I were just saying there. If the audio didn't pick up, is we were talking about self-awareness. We're talking about vulnerability being true strength and being able to, like, I didn't know this dude from a bar of soap. I've seen him in the gym a couple of times as a member training hard and, let's have the small nod, like the bloke nod of, g'day mate, how you doing sort of thing. But we'd never spoken. He comes up to me and he says, hey mate, hope I'm not in your way. I said, no man, this is your gym as well. Don't worry about me just because I'm some fuckwit with a fucking camera. Make sure you do what you do. And he goes, oh cool, we started talking about influences, we started talking about mental health and wearing the mask and what it's like to be authentic and vulnerable and all these sorts of things. And all of a sudden we just spent the last 10 minutes or so in this beautiful, intimate, connected conversation where I feel like he saw me and I saw him. And that's what men need more than anything. We need community, we need camaraderie, we need this intimacy between brothers to be able to be like, yeah bro, I've got you and I see you. I acknowledge you. That's huge, fucking huge. So when it comes to back training, the angle of your humerus is in relation to the muscle groups you're going to be working. If you want to work your lats more, drop your elbows down. Doesn't really matter if you're going overhand or underhand, you're going to feel more lat in the movement. If you go overhand and your elbow starts rotating up on like a 45-degree angle from the shoulder, you're going to feel it more through your middle back, through your traps and rhomboids. And if you go right up like this, you're going to be working up middle trap, upper trap, rhomboids and rear delts. So the angle of your humerus determines where you feel your back. If you're doing vertical movements, the exact same thing happens. If you go overhand and elbows come out, it's going to be an upper back movement. You're going to be able to rotate your scapulars right down, get your teres major and minor into it, rear delts, rhomboids, traps. If you go elbows under and you pull down neutral like this, it's going to be a hell of a lot of lat. If you go underhand and you pull through, there's going to be a hell of a lot of lat, but there's also going to be bicep activation from the shoulder insertion. So when it comes to back training, you've got to be really specific the reasons why you're choosing these exercises in the sequence that you're choosing for your development, for your posture, for your physique, for your symmetry and all these sorts of things. You don't want to just spam neutral grip rows or overhand pull downs or anything like this. You want to make sure it's balanced. And the only way to know that your physique is balanced by actually looking at it. That's one thing that I loved about bodybuilding is like the aesthetics of training. You'll be able to look in your body and be like, all right, my deltoid needs this, my back needs this, legs need this, and you can sculpt your body. It's gonna take hours and hours of effort inside of the gym, eating properly, sleeping well, hydrating, all these different things. But the main thing is, you're a sculptor for your body. And that's one of the best things about bodybuilding, in my opinion. All right, last bit of back work. I'm doing it's kind of a pull down, it's kind of a row. What it is really is a 45-degree row. So I'm gonna be holding my abs nice and tight, slight arching my lower back, and then pulling elbows under like this. So I'm not sitting fully upright like that because predominantly I want this to be a lat movement. And if you sit up too far upright, it starts to move towards upper back, teres major and minor and stuff like that, and your lat actually loses activation. I'm gonna go pretty close grip, sort of 1.5 thumbs distance from the middle of the bar, knees into the pad instead of under the pad, holding here, and I want elbows under. So one of my friends, Justin, he's amazing at pointing out shadow. When it comes to shadow, there's shadow in everything, honestly. If you're not consciously aware of your intentions and the energy that's behind something, whether it's coming from, lover archetype, king, warrior, magician archetype, then it's probably coming from shadow, especially if it's unconscious, if it's a reaction rather than a response. So one thing that you have to do, talking about what we were talking about there before, about breakups creating bodybuilders, is understand what's your intention with it. What is your intention? What's the energy behind it? If it comes from a place of shadow, reframe it, transform it into something that's positive, transform it into something that's going to be beneficial rather than, you know, against someone else, against like, I'm gonna fucking show her what she lost. You know, that's victim energy there. You wanna make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons instead of just being a little sook, being victimized and saying, oh, I feel so sorry for myself that I've got to get back at her. Fuck that. Choose higher intentions. Choose the right reason to do something. Choose it because you love your body and you want to get into it. You want to get fit. You want to get strong. You want to get leaner. Choose it for the right reasons. Don't choose it to be a little victim. Now today I'm tacking on biceps as well. I'm going to do drag curls today. Nice and light drag curls. These are an awesome bicep exercise. Make sure you do it with an easy bar. If you notice pain in the wrists, stick your bum out a little bit and drag the bar up your body. Keeping your wrist straight the entire time. You'll notice that when you start to fatigue, you do this. Don't do that. Keep your wrist strong, keep your forearms strong, and drag the bar up your body. And once you finish, throw in some negative curls. I hate how weak my biceps are. 25 kilos on that bar and I'm cooked. That being said, I fucking hate training biceps. My least favorite muscle, that and carbs. So I had my refeed day yesterday. I totaled in at 475 grams of carbohydrates. And yesterday I weighed in at 110.3 and my weight today is 112.2. So have I gotten fatter after having that many carbs, after being in a deficit? No. So where does all this extra weight come from? You see, every gram of carbohydrate you take in, you take 3 grams of water with it. So because I had 475 grams of carbohydrates, not the food, I had 475 grams of carbs, add 3 grams of water for that, for each gram of carbs. Okay, so I'm already sitting at 1,300 grams just from the water and the carbohydrate intake. Not to mention the amount of food that I had. So because I had high volume foods, I had sweet potato and rice crackers. They were my 3, and I had Weet-Bix as well. So because I had four carb sources that were higher volume, that you could eat quite a lot before the calories start getting up and the grams of carbs start getting up, all of that food weight is still sitting in my digestional tract. So you might go and have a big carb refeed and your weight, you know, goes up 1,800 grams, or it goes up over 2 kilos sort of thing. Just know that it's water, glucose, and it's also poo. So the big thing that you need to worry about is 2 days after your refeed, has your weight go back down to normal? And the day after you've had your refeed, go train something that's a weaker muscle group for you, so that way you can actually use that glucose that's around your body in abundance, in surplus, and use it for that muscle group. Like today with my pendlay rows, I did 3 sets of 6 reps with 9 on the last set at 100, and it was fucking easy. Ask me this time last week if I was to do pendlay rows, I would have struggled with that because I didn't have that big refeed. So you can modulate your carbohydrates across the week to be able to, you know, change your weaknesses, change your training days around, so that when you have your refeed, you're training something that is a weakness afterwards. I'm starting to ramble because I'm fucking tired, and it's towards the end of the session. So I'm just gonna shut up and do this set here. You guys get that when you start to crap on and you just sit there in your head going, man, shut the fuck up. Yeah, I do that quite a lot. Okay, so instead of alternating hammer curls, we're just doing both at the same time. So a big thing when it comes to doing your dumbbell hammer curls is make sure that when you're gripping the dumbbell, that you're gripping it towards the top of the dumbbell, so that way as you come up, it's staying flat with your wrist. A lot of people have this tendency that when they start to fatigue, their wrist starts bending down like this, and you start having a bit of stretch on the brachialis instead of keeping it strong, training your brachialis, because that's essentially what the hammer curl is doing, is it's training this slab of meat here and also the long head of the bicep. So making sure keeping your wrist straight the entire time, all the way from the bottom to the top, and then keeping it strict like that. When you start noticing that your wrist starts stretching like that, you've already failed the set. You've already fatigued to the point of no return. So stop your set, make sure that you go a little bit lighter, keep good form, because you want to make sure that, yeah, you're training your brachialis, but you're also training the long head at the same time. So up strict, down strict. When you start fatiguing, use a bit of body English, get the last few reps out, and yeah, let's get the next set done. So watch how I do it here. So I grab close to the top of the dumbbell there, chest up tall, keep my humerus still, and I'm going to curl up with straight wrists and then down. Fuck, I'm fucked. So that's the end of that one. I'm gonna go for a bit of a walk outside instead of going for a walk on the treadmill today. Yeah, there's a nice big lizard outside. That's it for today. That's another thinking out loud session done. If you haven't done already so, please like, subscribe, comment, do all the things to be able to help us boost into the algorithm, help other men just like you. Have an amazing day. Much love.
Appreciate you for stopping by and watching another video. Thank you in advance for liking and subscribing. It really helps us out. Make sure you check back regularly for more videos and content to be able to help you raise your standards everywhere. Much love. Take care.